Oftentimes, people fear what they don't know, and when it comes to the blocks, there are many misconceptions, common mistakes that are made, which set people up for failure instead of success. A simple change in your approach to how you set your blocks up, how you go about executing them, or maybe even just how you think about them, can be the difference between you losing a race, winning a race, or maybe even setting a personal best. So thanks for tuning in, and hope this helps. When it comes to starting block technique, there are a few common mistakes that people make when setting themselves up in the blocks, leaving the block, and in the steps following block clearance. So whatever you do here is going to set you up for what happens in the steps down the way. And whatever you do there is going to set you up for the middle of the race. And the middle of the race sets you up for the end of the race. So there needs to be one continuous acceleration from the block up to max velocity, and then you maintain that velocity as long as you can, get through the end line, and that's your race. It's done pretty quick. So to set ourselves up for success, one thing we want to do. On the first step out of the blocks, we need to see one straight line from the ankle through the knee, hip, and shoulder. So this is the whole body angle relative to the ground. It needs to be one straight line at approximately 45 degrees. Stronger athletes can go as low as 38 to 39 degrees. Athletes who aren't as strong are probably going to have to hang out in the 50-degree range. So don't try to go lower than your body is capable of, because that's not going to make you any faster, even if someone who is faster comes out at a lower angle. There's a common misconception that as you're accelerating, you should feel as quick as possible. Oftentimes coaches improperly give the cue to be quick when they don't realize what the implications are for the physics of being quick. Now, oftentimes when people think of quickness, they confuse speed with quickness. Now, what is quickness? Quickness is how many movements can you make with your body parts within a period of time. Speed, on the other hand, is how far do you go in a given amount of time. So the further you go in less time is going to make you faster. Making as many movements with your body parts as you can in a given amount of time is not going to make you faster. And in fact, it could make you much slower. Pertaining mainly to the beginning of the race, about the first 6 to 8 steps, we need to apply force for a longer period of time because your overall velocity is slow. We're trying to accelerate, we're trying to overcome inertia, and so we have to apply force for longer at this part of the race. So when coming out of the blocks, we need to push fully through the block for as long as you can push without slowing yourself down. We don't want to artificially slow our movements down to push longer, but we want to make sure that we're not trying to pull our foot off the block when our leg looks like this. We want to push all the way through, leave the block, and then drive the knee forward. Okay, so we want to maximize this first push, and the same thing for the next about 6 to 8 steps of the race. You want to be maximizing that push into the ground so that you're generating a lot of force, building speed, building stride length, building frequency as you go. The slowest, so to speak, steps will occur at the beginning of the race, and you will increase your frequency as you go. Also, as you accelerate, your center of mass will rise, your whole body angle will rise to almost vertical, and then you'll be at your max velocity. You pop out, stand right up, or if you come out with your chest low, you're going to set yourself up for problems down the way. As you leave the blocks, you want to focus on full ranges of motion, full knee drive, full arm swing, a straight whole body angle, projecting yourself across the track, not chopping your steps, rushing to get your foot down. You need to feel big, powerful movements that are launching you and getting faster and faster and faster as you go. The first steps of your race are going to feel the slowest, and that's okay. One way to think about acceleration is to think of a curve of acceleration. We're increasing speed, and then the rate at which you're increasing speed starts to level out, it flattens, and then you're at max velocity, and then for the rest of the race you're just trying to decelerate the least through the finish line. Now if your acceleration curve for the 60-meter dash is the same as you use for the 100-meter dash or the 200-meter dash, you're going to find yourself in trouble, because the curve of the acceleration is going to dictate how much energy you're distributing at which part of the race. And so you have to make sure that your acceleration curve that you're following is optimal for the race that you're running. A 60-meter dash runner, they can blast out using all their energy, in the first 40 meters, because by that point they only have 20 meters left, and then they're done. In the 100, if you use all your energy by 40 meters, you have more than half the race left, and you're basically gonna fall back, okay? So you have to think about, if you were to visualize a curve on a graph, we want a nice steady increase of acceleration and increase of speed as you go into the race, pushing that acceleration as far into the race as you can, so that you spend the least amount of time, or the least proportion of the race, decelerating, okay? So on that same token, in elite sprinters, they find that maximum, or the percentage of their maximum frequency, stride frequency, about 95% of that max is hit by 10 meters. In novice sprinters, it's more around 80% of their max frequency is hit by 10 meters, and in middle of the road sprinters, it's about 90% of their max frequency. So depending on your level, if you're an elite sprinter, someone who's running close to 10.0 or below, you're probably hitting close to your maximum stride frequency, about 95%, by 10 meters. If you run closer to 11, you're gonna be building your stride frequency further into the race. When it comes to setting up your starting blocks, there's a generic framework that you can begin with, and then from there you can learn to customize your block settings as you become more proficient, more comfortable, and start to find, okay, what is the optimal position for me? Because everybody has different leg lengths, torso lengths, arm lengths, so all of those differences in morphology, or sort of shape of the body, is going to dictate where the pedals need to be for each person. But there's a general guideline of 2 feet to the first block, so 2 foot lengths to the first block from the starting line, and 3 foot lengths to the second starting block. Now, I would say that a more accurate or way to go about it would be to give you a range. So I would say about 1.7 foot lengths to about 2.3 foot lengths to the first block, and about 2.7 to 3.3 foot lengths to the second block. This allows for variation between athletes, different leg lengths and things like that. So experiment with that. I personally go 1.9 foot lengths to the first block and 2.9 foot lengths to the second block. To make sure that your block settings are optimal for your body type, there are a few sort of points you can check off that will put you in the ballpark of being in the right position in the blocks, okay? So, first and foremost, in the on your marks position, you want to see a couple things. One, you want to see this front knee brushing the front arm, maybe even in line with it, depending on what your comfort level is with your positions. We want to see the shoulders directly over the hands, and we want to see the knee of the back leg splitting the shin of the front leg. So if you see that your arm is brushing your knee, your front knee, your shoulders are directly over your arms, and your back knee is splitting the shin of the front leg, then you're probably in a good position to start from. Now if you rise into set from there and you're uncomfortable, you can adjust. If you feel like you're going to fall forward, it might be wise to place your block settings a little bit back. If you feel like you're comfortable, then you're good to go. Lastly, there's a couple other things we want to see both in the on your marks position as well as the set position that will ensure that you're set up for success when the gun goes off. In the on your marks position, we want to press our back up by protracting our scapulae. So press your back up and allow for your head to drop so you can see the toes of your front foot. Now when the official says set, you want to press up from all 4 points of contact, your hands and your feet, pressing your center of mass and your hips up as high as you can, so that when the gun goes off, you're in a good position to leave the blocks. One thing to keep an eye on when analyzing someone's block technique is the angle of their front shin. If, say, they're in a position where their shin is really low, it's going to be very hard for them to fire out at the proper angle. Same as if their shin is way too high, they're not going to be able to generate enough force to leave the blocks and project themselves out in a powerful manner. So you want to see about a 45-degree angle in this front shin when in the set position.